You put me in charge of career mode, I'm going to give you the best game. It's going to be the best selling game ever. Hey guys, Older5 here with the EA Sports Career Mode. We need to talk about Career Mode video, whatever you want to fucking call it. I'm going to be talking about a couple of features, and it's going to be in different sections. So we're going to talk about training, youth players, stats, transfers, the club, and also the manager. So I'm going to kick it off with training. So training's been in the game for a few years now, and it hasn't really changed. They've added a few new training games where you can upgrade different stats. I think stamina and sprint speed were the new ones this year. But other than that, they haven't really done anything. I guess there's three really key, important, big things they could actually add to the training to just improve it so much more. And that could be weak foot training, skill move training, and position training. These are three things that should have been in there a couple of years ago. Really, they should have been in there when they added training. They should have added at least weak foot, because you get a youth player coming out of the academy, he's got 1-star weak foot, he's going to have 1-star weak foot even when he's at 94 rated potential. He's still going to have that 1-star weak foot, and he's still going to be pretty much unusable on that weak foot. And the ability to just train the weak foot to make it better. And obviously it's going to have to be harder than the training is right now, because obviously you could just train him all season, he'd have a 5-star weak foot. You don't want that. You want gradual growth of training, make it difficult, maybe make it so you have to play the training games, because I don't play the training games, I simulate all of them. I played them maybe once when training first came out, and since then I've simulated all of them. They're just not fun to play. They're boring. They're lethargic, you know? And not to, they put the training games before you go into a game on career mode. Take that out. Have the game load in when it's showing the match screens and stuff like that. I don't understand why that's not a thing. That's just some simple ones that I think should be in there. Again, maybe even the weak foot and the skill moves training could be done via gameplay, similar to my player, dribbling past players, scoring with the weak foot, whatnot. That could be used to improve weak foot and skill moves, but I think it is very important that weak foot and skill moves can both be upgradable in career mode, especially for youth players. You get a winger, again, I'm going to use another example here. You get a winger, he's 1-star, but he has 90 to 94 potential. He's going to get to that 94 potential, but he's going to be so unusable that a 75 rated player with 5-star is going to be better and more usable. It's just silly how they haven't really done anything to those 2 points. And let's talk about position training. Again, it's a no-brainer, really. You get a 6'6" right back. You could position change him to be a 6'6" centre back. You know, you get a right back with good attacking, good crossing, good pace. You could train him to become a right mid or a right winger. You get a striker who's not the best at finishing, but his playmaking ability is really good. Bang, back down to a cam. It's simple things. A winger who's not that quick, move him centrally. Again, it's just simple things. Again, it would have to be a gradual process, helped along again maybe by gameplay and actually playing them in that position, them learning the position. But I think it is a key thing that should be in the game. The fact that those three aren't in the game, I think they should be. They should have already been in the game. Maybe not the way I described them, but I think them three are important things that should definitely be in FIFA 21. Speaking of training, I've got some more training things I could talk about I think would benefit the game quite well. Kind of more advanced training kind of things. Instead of training individuals, training the whole squad, the whole team, improving the team chemistry, the team morale, the tactical familiarity kind of thing. I'm going to talk more about team chemistry, tactical familiarity, whatever, and that in a minute. Another thing I'm going to talk about in a moment is having staff, having actual coaches, and obviously the better your coach is, the quicker the players improve, the more the players improve each training session. I think that would be very good. Like attacking coaches, defensive coaches, tactical coaches, yeah, just different coaches, and obviously how good they are will react to how much the players grow, how fast they grow, how well they grow, whatnot. I think that would be really good, and a really good feature to have on the game. Overall though, I think training could do with a big revamp going into the next game, even if they don't add these features, just changing up the way training works, changing up the little skill games you've got to play. Just mix it up a little bit, make it a little bit mundane, basically. Again, it's a little thing, but if I'm a League 2 team, my training facility is not going to look the exact same as a Premier League team. Training facilities for each team, just a little bit, Just another little thing. Another little thing. Next up, I'm going to talk about youth players. The Youth Academy system is okay. It's not the worst. It's not terrible, but it's not the best. It's definitely not the best. Obviously, the scouts, they're 5-star, 5 stars. They're star based, and I think that's okay. I think sending them out to different countries is okay. Again, there's a couple of countries they haven't even got. They haven't got Wales, for example. Simple things like that. Just add all the countries. I want to be able to scout a country. I want to be able to get a player from, I don't know, the middle of... I want to get an Indonesian centre attacking midfielder. I want to be able to scout Indonesia and get a player from there. Add every country. It doesn't make sense. But youth teams, I think an improved youth academy would be good. When you have the scouts, you sign the players up, they go to the youth academy, they just sit there. It would be nice if they actually kind of played simulated games, and you could get scout reports back on them, where they were good, where they were poor, where they need improving. Basically, I'm just saying add a youth league, basically. Add like the Premier League 2 with the youth players. Add an under-23s team, add an under-19s team to each team so you can pick and choose players. Have the full squad of teams. Right now, they've only really got the first team plus a couple of youth players mixed in about there. I think, really, you should have the first team, the under-23s, the under-19s, and that should be the team you are in charge of. And then when you sign a youth player, they go into the under-19s. You can see, you get reports back on how they perform. Simple, really. Obviously, to make it easier, maybe don't allow you to take over an under-23s or an under-19s team, because that would include adding a whole new league. But just make it a simulated thing. The under-19s team won at the weekend. They won 3-0. This so-and-so scored a hat-trick. Maybe recommend bringing him into the first team training, bringing him in to the first team. Simple things like that. But yeah, just receiving reports, being able to personally go and scout a youth or watch a youth game, being able to watch games that you're not in, I think would be cool. That should be a thing. I should be allowed to do that. If I want to go watch the team I'm playing next, I should be able to do that. Instead, I can only play in the games I play in. But that's it for the youth players, really. Maybe they can make scouting a little bit better, but I'm okay with how it is right now. Next up, we're going to talk about stats in-game, being able to see stats. That's another thing that should have been in the game a long time ago. It's just the ability to see a player's past season stats. If I want to scout a player, he'd fit my team. How did he do last season? I won't know. I can't find that information anywhere. It's a simple thing. I want to sign a striker. I want to go, okay, he'd be good. How did he do last season? Oh, okay, he scored 13 goals, got 12 assists, got 7 man of the matches, whatnot. He'd be an awesome signing. Sign him up. But I can't do that. I just got to guess that he did well. It would make scouting easier, and it would help to see if a player... It would also help to see if a player in your team has improved. If my striker scored 10 goals this season, he only scored 5 last season. Okay, he's done twice as good. Awesome to see. He's improving. He's getting better. And it's just being able to see goals scored, assists, maybe the average rating, maybe the amount of man in the matches they got, for a defender or a goalkeeper, the clean sheets, the goals they've conceded, just things like that, I think would be so much better. And added on to that, being able to see the past league winners, player of the seasons, team of the seasons, it would just make scouting so much easier. You see a player that's in the team of the season, you see he's gone in there twice in a row, you know he's a good player, sign him up, thank you very much. You can't do that. You don't know if he was in the player of the season, you don't know how many player of the months he's won. It's just simple being able to look at stats would just make this game so much better. Another one about seeing past stats is seeing the past results against the team. So say I'm Chelsea manager, I'm coming up against Burnley. Okay, last time I played him, I won 3-0. That's good. We've got a good record against them. Or then I'm coming up against City. Oh crap, last time I came up against City I lost 2-1. Need to try harder in this one. Need to maybe play a different style. It's just simple things like that. Again, maybe there's some capacity having to being able to look at club legends, something like that. That's not a main one. That really won't do anything. Maybe if they're a staff member or not, but that's just would be nice. They've got legends in the game. They've got icons in the game. Being able to look at past club legends, I think, would be pretty cool. So that's the main ones for stats. Just being able to look back at past stats, whether it be trophies won, goals scored, assists gone, whatnot. Next one, this is probably the biggest one. It's going to be the transfers and the actual squads. So the first point is going to be improved transfers. An example I can give is on the Atletico Madrid career mode I'm doing right now. Lukaku, he obviously left Man United to join Inter. On there, he's gone back to Manchester United, a place where he obviously wasn't liked that much. So why would he do that? I want like realistic transfers. Maybe code it into the game, like disliked clubs, favorited clubs, things like that. So they're more likely to join a club they like than a club they dislike. Also, players not leaving a top team where they're actually playing games to join a lower league team or a lower ranked team where they're not playing games. Main one I can think of is Sula. He was playing games for Bayern, again on our Everton or our Everton or Atleti career. He joined Napoli. If you're playing for Bayern, you're not going to leave to play for Napoli. Bayern are a bigger club than Napoli. You're a German as well. I think he came through their scouting youth academy. I'm not sure, but you want to play for the biggest club in Germany if you're a German. Surely, that's all I'm gonna say. Just they've done it quite well these past few years in the transfers. Obviously, there's no more like scripted transfers. They're a bit more random nowadays, which is much better. But kind of easing into that one as well is making it more difficult to lure key players or high potential players away from teams. So another example is on the West Brom career mode we did right at the beginning of the year. We signed Reece James from Chelsea for pretty cheap, and he's got a lot of potential and is in an area where Chelsea are not the most in-depth. Obviously, we've got Aspi there, who is getting on in age. You wouldn't want to sign a young right back coming through the club. So just making it a bit harder to sign those players would be much, much better. Make it harder to sign Griezmann from Barcelona for less than like double his value or whatnot. Like make it harder to sign players. I want it to be like a realistic, really hard challenge to sign players from clubs. But right now it's just so easy to sign a player for their value. It's silly, really. Some of the numbers. Another one is about the pre-contracts. It is clubs actually offering players contracts before their contract is up. They'll have their contract. The club will let their contract die down, and if no one offers them a pre-contract, then they'll offer them a contract. That would not happen in real life. That is very unrealistic. And it just means that the exact same players are the same pre-contract signings every single career mode on FIFA. You start a career mode now, it's going to be the exact same pre-contract players as if I started the career mode earlier this year. Teams should be able to offer players contracts. And again, talking about teams offering players contracts, teams offering a player a contract to remove a release clause if the release clause is less than the player's value is simple shit, really. The main one in real life right now is Timo Werner. He's got a release clause of like £50 million, and his value is probably just around there, maybe a bit more. That's the main one in real life. But not in career mode, you can get bargains for every single player. Year one, there could be a high potential youth player with a £1 million release clause. He's got a 5-year contract. 4 years down the line, he's reached his potential. He's still got that same contract with that same wages, with the same release clause. So you can pick him up for £1 million, even though he's like 88 rated. So I think that should be addressed. Clubs offering their players new contracts. This is maybe a long shot, but adding like work permits and squad registration rules, just to make signings again a bit more realistic, a bit more harder to pick what players you want, players that would be unregisterable in the squad. I think make it a bit more difficult, a bit more realistic. I would enjoy that. It's a career mode. You're a manager. You're supposed to be having you're supposed to be replicating what a manager goes through. A manager has to go through these kind of things. So I think that would be useful. Now we're kind of more onto squads, and I'm thinking a club awards / maybe even a league awards ceremony would be pretty cool. It would take advantage of obviously the new custom manager thing. You could see your manager in a cutscene receiving an award. I think PES has award ceremonies, whether it be a club award ceremony or an actual league like PFA Player of the Year award ceremony. I think that would be really cool. Being able to see your manager, being able to see players from across the league receiving awards, and then obviously the ability to vote in those awards. Manager's Player of the Season, Manager's Manager, Manager's Team of the Season. Being able to vote, put in votes here and there for players, I think would be really, really cool, and a really interesting thing that could be added to the game to improve it, really. I've already talked about this, but it's adding staff. So they've already got scouts, which is 5-star 5, which is a star-based system. Maybe if they had coaches on the same kind of system, star-based. Again, I talked about the better the coach, the more the players upgrade, the faster they upgrade. I was also thinking just removing the global scouting network, having youth scouts and having normal scouts that can scout nations, leagues, areas of the world, whatnot, and youth scouts which then look for certain younger players that have been undeveloped and aren't at actual club. So I think that would be pretty good, and maybe more in-depth parameters on players to search for. And also, as well as coaches and scouts, maybe an assistant manager. Like, I think an assistant manager would be very good for this game. It's kind of just to help. It would help new people as well, new people to career mode. He could give recommendations on squad selection, on the best tactics to beat the team you're coming up against, on what players are playing well, what players are training well, just before a game, just to help you out, give you little tips. This player's playing well. This guy has a good record against the team we're going up against. Maybe play him. Simple things like that, I think, would just add a little extra bit of realism, a bit more fun, really, to the whole game mode. Again, back to the squads, and this is another thing I kind of mentioned earlier: team chemistry and tactical / squad familiarity. So the more players play together, the more the squad familiarity is going to be. Players know how their teammates play. They know, oh, this guy likes to go down the wing. I'll put more through balls down the wing. That's going to be team chemistry. And then tactical familiarity would be the more that a formation is played, the more that maybe a tiki-taka is played, the more the players are going to get used to it. They're going to be able to find the positions better. Obviously, when they're first playing it, they're not going to be the most familiar. It's not going to be the most effective system, but the more and more time you put into it, the more you play that system, the better they're going to get, until maybe they get a bit mundane to it, and then you've got to find a new system that works. And obviously, the more they play like this, the better they play as a squad, the higher the morale, the better just things are in general. This is a big one, I think. Opposition teams changing manager. How have EA never thought of this? Again, it might be a bit more difficult, but I don't want to come up against Roy Hodgson, who's like 70 odd years old, in 2020. I don't want to come up against Roy Hodgson still being in charge of Crystal Palace in 2035 in his like mid to late 80s. He's going to be retired by then. You know, I want to come up against fresh faces in charge of teams. They've got the custom managers, they've got the cutscenes. Put young managers in charge of teams when a manager retires. And again, another thing, the new managers will bring a different style that they play. Roy Hodgson will be at the team in 2020. He'll play the exact same style 15 years later in 2035. It's going to be the exact same style of football. Managers change their styles of football. I don't know if EA Sports know this, but managers chop and change their style of football quite often, depending on what teams they play. Next up is taking advantage again of the custom managers kind of cutscenes, and it is dressing room and squad meetings pre, mid, and post game. So, I know. A cutscene with your custom manager speaking to his squad about the tactics, about how they should line up, raring up, ramping them up, maybe even giving them a bollocking if they haven't been good. It's simple things. Like, you're 2-0 down at halftime. You can't fire the squad up by giving them an inspirational speech. You can just click start second half. That's all you can do. Especially with a cutscene, it would just make it so much better. Next up is mentoring. Now I thought it was a really, really good idea. And it's taking an older player, maybe a player that's just about to retire, allowing them to mentor a younger player. And what that does is it transfers a trait that older player has onto the younger player. It could be second wind, it could be flair, it could be any of those. I think that would be a really, really good idea. Like good, easy ways to get traits onto the younger players. Not much more to say about that one, I just think it's a really good idea that I had. Again, this is another cutscene one. Player chats actually have cutscenes. They've got the basic build of a manager's office. They've got the build of a manager. They've got the build of a player. Instead of making the chats between players text message based, make them actual conversations in the manager's office. Again, contract negotiations happen in the manager's office. Just instead of an agent and its player, just make it the squad player in like a tracksuit. Make it 10 times better. Makes it 10 times better instead of, boss, why did you not play me today? 3 options. You weren't the perfect fit. Player reacted happy. Make it an actual cutscene. Okay, so that's the one. That was pretty much transfers and squads. That was the kind of section I joined together. Next up is going to be the managers. So this one is kind of this is more customization of managers. Not in terms of looks, but in terms of maybe having stats for managers. Players have stats that improve over time. Managers, I think, should have stats that improve over time. Traits like plays tiki-taka football, plays drop back, whatnot. So you can scout a manager and how they play before a game. An opposition manager, that is. You can see, oh, this manager has the drop back trait. He's going to be tough to play. He's going to be tough to break down. Just more customization of things like that. Managers having stats. Managers' history again. Showing the history of a manager. Where they finished in past seasons. Their win percentage. Whatnot. Next one's about press conferences. Now this is kind of 2 parts. This is the first part, having more press conferences. Not just before and after a game. But maybe when you make a signing, because it shows there's the little picture, the cutscene of the player holding up the shirt and you in the background clapping and all the people taking photos. Chuck a press conference in there, talk about the player, boost his morale, say, yeah, he's a great signing, he'll lead us forward, he was a bargain, whatnot. When you're just around in press conferences to promote maybe a player you're interested in. And then as well as that, instead of doing just solo press conferences, do press conferences with the captain of the club or the player that got man of the match after. Something like that. I think would be really, really just add a little bit of extra goodness to the press conferences. Obviously, they're a new feature. They're not going to get perfect first time out. But I think adding things in like that would make it a little bit better. And just another simple thing. Better, less repetitive questions. Obviously, when you get to this point in the year on FIFA, the questions are going to be repetitive. But the fact that I'm 5 episodes into my West Brom Career Mode, I've heard the same question 5 times already, every episode. I think that should be addressed. Managers having contracts. Players have contracts. Managers also have contracts. Having it extended. And also, this is what I thought. The managers have contracts. You could chuck the board visions and expectations into the manager's contract. If they reach the goals, offer them a new contract. If they reach a few of them, maybe negotiate a new contract. If they don't reach any, don't offer them a new contract. Simple. I talked about this earlier, but the ability to vote in Player of the Month, Team of the Year and Ballon d'Or. I think managers vote for Ballon d'Or. It might just be nation managers. But I'm pretty sure managers and players vote for the Team of the Year. And I think it may as well allow me to vote for the Player of the Month. Speaking of Player of the Month, add a Manager of the Month. Managers win awards every month too, EA Sports. And yeah, just in general, take more advantage of the custom managers. Add more cutscenes that I can see my manager in, basically. And I think that's pretty much it for the manager. And this is the final little section, just kind of random little things that I think would improve the game slightly, and some maybe a bit more. But the first of which is removing friendly tournaments and allowing the player, like the person playing, to set up their own preseason friendlies. The fact that friendlies are to get players fit again, back to their full fitness after a little break. You can only play at most you play 6, at least you play 3. 3 is not enough friendlies, you know? You should, instead of the tournament, be able to make your own, maybe even add charity games and testimonials. I think testimonials will be a really cool feature to add into FIFA. If a player's been at the club for like 10 years, give them a testimonial. Maybe bring in some old players back to the club so they can play. I think that'd be really cool. Bringing back the request funds feature. It wasn't a broken feature. It was a good feature. It would help out a lot when you're just a couple million short for a transfer. Just go and request some funds. The board give it to you. Thank you very much. These are the ones you probably would have expected, but these are probably the most requested changes every single year. Custom kits and custom stadiums. I think the ability to change your kits would be nice. And obviously there's the whole thing with the sponsors on the shirts. They're going to be pissed. Just keep the sponsors. EA Sports are like a multi-billion-dollar company. I'm pretty sure they could say to Nike, could you just send us over a couple of designs that we can use in our game, that you'd happy with us using in our game, that we can switch the colours with depending on what team it is. Bang. Simple. Just keep the main shirt sponsor and the arm sponsor, keep them the same. That's not what's boring about the kits. It's the fact that you can go 15 seasons in and have the exact same kit design. I don't care about the sponsors on the kit, I care about the design. I don't want to be using the same plain black and white stripes. I want to mix up the design a little bit. The away kit. I want to be able to have free reign on the design of the away kit. But yeah, I think that's simple. Ask Nike, Adidas, Puma, Kappa, anyone. Just ask them to make a couple of designs for kits, and you can use them. Change the colours, whatnot. Simple. It's like pro clubs. Pro clubs, they've got designs to choose from. You can change the colours of. Add that to career mode. It's so simple. Just add that to career mode. Just make it so you can't change Chelsea from a Nike kit to an Adidas kit. Just make it stuck so you have to have Nike designs, but you can have any Nike design you want. Make it so they can't change the sponsor from, I think it's 3 this year, isn't it? They've changed it to the mobile company. Make it so you can't change the 3 sponsor on the shirt, but maybe make it so you can move it or change the size of it. Don't change the arm sponsors. Don't, just simple things like that. And then a stadium improvement, I think, is a very simple thing. Again, this might have a problem for some stadiums which are sponsored. It's important to be able to change your stadium, especially if you're a League 2 team. You've done an RTG all the way to the Champions League, and you're still playing in that like 3,000 attendance stadium. When you're going up against Barca, you have like a 90,000 capacity stadium. Either creating a whole new stadium, being able to increase capacity, and yeah, you can name it after a club legend or a sponsor. EA can make some fake sponsors that can be named after the stadium. Whatever. And that's going to be it. Really, that's going to be it for the things I think should be added. But most importantly, EA Sports, you fucking frauds, improve the fucking gameplay. You could add all this shit, but if the gameplay is still bad, it's still going to be a shit fucking career mode. You've got to be able to balance career mode out. You've got to make it so the hardest difficulty is the hardest difficulty. And even when they do that, they make it the hardest difficulty. People can still beat it quite easily. They make it harder. They make it literally impossible to beat, so people have to make sliders, custom sliders, to make it to a difficulty in which they can play, but still have fun. You should still be able to have fun on the hardest difficulty on the game. Add these features, and you have got yourself a game mode in FIFA that people will enjoy playing. These are just basic features. I didn't even mention online career mode. Online career mode would definitely make career mode the biggest game mode on FIFA. Being able to play career mode where, imagine having 20 friends. Each player picks a Premier League team out of the hat. That's who you are in the online career mode. Imagine that. Imagine how fun that would be. It's EA Sports. They do not give a fuck. Why should they when people are going to piss their money away into FIFA points? But yeah, that's my open letter to EA Sports about how they can fix career mode. I dare you to respond to me, EA. I dare you.